Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam, and when it's Friday, you know who's going to be on the show. Kimo, what's happening, brother?
Yo, man. It's good to be back. It's been quite a while. I think we haven't done a show since the big trip recap, so it's good to be back, man. But boxing is a little bit stale lately. There's been a couple of gems here and there, but I'm still waiting for that, electrifying fight that's gonna drive everybody mad. But we haven't really gotten that lately.
Yeah, I think we got spoilt. Like, the majority of the year has been so good, and I was talking to Lim the other day, and if you look at the schedule until December, yeah, there's an odd good fight, but overall, it's a weak end to a great year.
Yeah, especially in terms of matchups. I mean, there's definitely potential, and we are getting a few gems, and there's a couple of really, really great fights in the making as well. But yeah, in terms of really what's going down, and especially what's coming up over in the upcoming months until the end of the year, I mean, there's only a few ones here and there that have really sparked my interest. I don't know about you.
Not many for me personally. I think Billy Joe versus Lemieux is a good fight. I think it's kind of easy work for Billy, but compared to some of the fights we're getting towards the end of the year, it is probably one of the highlights.
Easy work, huh? I'd like to talk about that fight, actually. I don't know if you want to do a recap first, but I hear a lot of people just saying that Billy Joe is going to have an easy night, and I'm not quite sure about that, man.
That's because you hate Billy Joe, though. But yeah, we will get into that because we haven't mentioned it on a show. But yeah, let's kind of do a recap. Obviously, the big talking point of the last weekend was Joshua in Wales against late replacement Carlos Takam. Just quickly get into that then. I don't know, I was a bit personally disappointed with Joshua's performance.
Sorry, bro, you cut out that for a second. You were disappointed in AJ's performance?
Yeah, I just thought he just looked a bit basic at times. Yeah, I understand the head clash and his nose going in the second. That is going to kind of put you off your game. But that shit happens, man. You have to kind of overcome it and continue. And I don't know, like, what was Takam really doing? Amazingly nothing, really. He was twitchy, he was kind of moving a lot, not being a static target, and he was just going backwards. Anytime AJ would throw a 1-2, like, Takam would just go backwards and take it on the gloves, and Josh never really adjusted. He just kept doing the same thing. The odd time he'd try and maybe throw an uppercut in there, which was good, but I don't know if you noticed it. When Joshua tries to shorten up his shots, I don't know, technique-wise, it doesn't look good. His technique is only pretty decent when he's fighting at kind of mid to long range.
I think that's a fair point. I think Joshua definitely is more effective when he gets to lengthen out his punches a little bit, and fight at that mid-range. On the other hand, Takam is not really how do I say this, clean inside fighter. He's either all the way out or he's all the way in, and he does a little bit of rushing and a little bit of throwing the head in there. He's an awkward guy. I do agree with you that AJ could have looked better, and maybe adjust a little bit more, but on the other hand, I like his consistency, man. I honestly find him very I don't know. He's very orthodox, but in a good way. He just pumps out the jab. He's a very standard, solid boxer, and I kind of like about that him because you look at his size, he uses it well. He keeps the distance. He just needs to evolve his inside game a little bit, and yeah, with a guy like Takam. I don't know, man. They kept calling him so brave on the broadcast, but I thought he was quite passive, man. I don't think he really went for it that much. There were a couple of moments where he jumps in swinging, but overall he's always got the gloves up and moving backwards, right? So it makes for a difficult fight, and it makes it difficult to look good, right? He's not an easy guy to look good against.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but overall, I thought it was a solid performance, to be honest. I think people sometimes tend to exaggerate a little bit. He's obviously coming from a pretty crazy war with Klitschko as well. He boxed a conservative fight himself as well. I thought he had him hurt a couple of times, and he just jump on him. He does still have that AJ killer instinct, but it's not like he went swinging for the fences, and to me is completely understandable, especially when you have an opponent that's a bit unpredictable like Takam.
Yeah, to your point about Takam, yeah, he was very negative. He would just kind of leap in with a lead left hook or a lead right hand, hoping to land something. So yeah, he didn't really come to the stadium to really put on a show. And you're right, the commentator is like, "Oh, he's so brave, isn't he? And he's got the cuts over his eyes and da." But I do want to mention that because if you're going to stop the fight at that point, why not stop it in the fourth or the fifth when his eyes bleeding a lot? Like if you're doing it for the protection of the fighter, well, that cut's only going to get worse as the fight continues. So he shipped a few shots, but the shots that did land on him, he seemed to take him well throughout the fight. So I just thought that was ridiculously poor refereeing by Phil Edwards.
Agreed. Pretty much agreed. It to me, it didn't seem to be about the cut. It seemed to be more about, a typical British stoppage where a couple of clean punches and a bit of a head snapping back automatically causes a guy to jump in. That seemed to be more the impression that I got. I know they looked at a cut a couple of times, but I don't think that was the main factor. I think it was just, and I wouldn't even call it a beatdown. It was just an accumulation of shots, and as soon as the momentum shifted a little bit again in the 10th round, where Takam was visibly a little bit hurt, he just I got to jump in and stop this fight. It was unnecessary, but for me as a spectator, it's not really going to get me mad because there was nothing happening really in that fight that would change anything, right? I mean, I wasn't expecting Takam to suddenly land a haymaker on him in the 11th round. And to be fair, I kind of just had enough of it as well. It was not a very visually pleasing fight. So
yeah,
I agree with you. I was like, bad stoppage, but then that was it. I'm not gonna stay upset for a long time because there was really nothing, to gain by letting the fight go on.
Yeah, I see your point again, but I just think if Takam gone all that way, might as well just fucking let him continue and finish off the fight and or lose on a unanimous, because I just think the UK is so well known for these type of incidents that's why guys don't want to travel. That's why Americans don't want to come over here. Like, they want to fight in the comforts of their own country for stuff like that, for bad judging, for bad reffing. Yeah, like, we're going to probably talk about McDonald Solis too, but that first fight was just horrible, and it just happens too often.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, there's been a couple of incidents that I think put a lot of pressure on referees, man. At the end of the day, they have the life of two guys in their hands. So I can understand that they don't want another Nick Blackwell situation. I can understand that they don't want another Gutneck situation. This shit has kind of been in the spotlight lately in boxing, and I don't want to sound like a like a bit of a hypocrite, because everybody knows I am like fucking bloodthirsty when it comes to fights. But on the other hand, I kind of understand why refs look out a bit more for fighters these days. I can understand that a little bit, man.
I understand it when a guy's just getting beat from pillar to post throughout the whole fight, but Takam wasn't really getting hit clean, man. He was riding a lot of shots, he was deflecting a lot of shots, and I don't know. I just thought that was, let's protect AJ's knockout record here and just stop the fight, and it just seemed a bit too obvious, man.
Yeah, I like how Adam Smith capitalized on that by saying, the knockout streak continues. Like, not really.
Exactly.
It's a bit artificial here, but yeah. It was a shit stoppage. I mean, absolutely. I just don't really care for it. That's my issue with it. Yeah.
So what next? I know, like, AJ was in the ring and saying, he has to kind of oblige and do these mandatories, but like mandatory. What do you expect next? Do you see just another basic defense and then maybe a super fight in the summer, next summer?
Likely. I'm just I'm searching for some confidence of people talking about the Wilder fight, but I just can't seem to find it. I'm very skeptical about it, Cam. I really don't know if this is actually gonna happen. Tyson Fury seems to be talking bullshit again, which I absolutely do not care for. This guy is for me so far off the radar. Like man, really, just shut the fuck up. Like I
love when like out of shape people post pictures of themselves when they were in shape. It's like, well, you're not in shape now. Why are you posting a picture from 4 years ago?
Yeah, that as well. Like he posted a picture of himself with abs, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna look like this in April, and then we're gonna do the fight in the summer." Hello, I don't know if you remember, Tyson, but you said that same shit like 2 months ago, and then you posted some fucking, depressive shit again on Twitter about how you're gonna retire again, and then you don't, and then you do. I'm really sick of the Furies, all of them, by the way, each and every one of them. I respect, again, Tyson's win over Klitschko. I do, even though it was one of the worst fights of all time. But I'm more about what have you done for me lately. And at the moment, you haven't done shit. And you keep promising the fans that you're going to come back and get in shape. And every time I see this guy on a fucking video, he can't even speak anymore. I don't know what's wrong with his voice, but he sounds like a fucking goo. And then it's like he's got still 150 pounds to lose or something like that. Shut up. And yeah, just to get back to the Wilder fight, I don't know, man. Both camps are being a little bit weird about it. You got Hearn saying that Wilder wants insane amounts of money for Dillian White, well, let alone what he wants for an AJ fight. But just, talking as a fan, that shit should be in the UK. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I don't think it should be in Vegas. I think it should be in, put it in Cardiff again or in Wembley Stadium, right? Yeah,
I think that was her argument, saying it's this kind of stadium fight that should happen in the UK, and I kind of agree, man. Wilder, they place him in his hometown, he sells a decent amount. They place him in New York, he sells a decent amount. But when you look at sales of tickets, when you look at the whole event, like, you can hate it or love it, but like Sky and Hearn and Matchroom, Joshua, man, it is a big event, especially like in the UK, to be filling up stadiums like that. And yeah, it's casual fans, but still, man, it's pretty big.
And I think Joshua at this point, and it's still growing, obviously, but I think Joshua, I think people are underestimating how big of a star he actually is globally, man. I mean, I see this fucker over here in Abu Dhabi everywhere on TV, and his fights get aired here on cable as well. So, I forgot to mention this to you the other day. Even my uncle, mentioned it to me. He's like, hey, what's up with this new British guy, man? I really like him. He's so well spoken. He's humble. I'm like, oh my God, you're talking about AJ, aren't you? Yeah, I kid you not, man. I swear. And he's getting a lot of exposure just worldwide, man. And even if Wilder doesn't want to come to the UK, I mean, honestly, I think they can fight anywhere and then do massive numbers, man. Even if you fucking put it in Germany, for all I care. I mean, a big heavyweight unification fight like that. Phew. But yeah, in terms of the spectacle, in terms of the whole atmosphere, I mean, say what you want about the card itself, but that atmosphere in Cardiff was pretty fucking crazy, right? I mean, he is a bona fide megastar right now. So don't take that. Don't take that away, You can put that shit in Vegas and get all the casino money, yada yada. But there's nothing in terms of the live television experience by also putting it in a stadium like that. It's just fantastic, man. But I also want to talk a little bit about AJ himself, man, because I'm you got a big fight on the horizon like this, and he just seems to be very vanilla about it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, fucking say something, man. Stop being so goddamn politically correct all the time. I'm getting kind of sick of it. I've got to train hard and prepare myself and fight is fight. Okay. I've heard this same story 20 fucking times already. I understand you don't need to talk trash because you sell already, but, go get him, man. He's your guy. There's nobody else. Unless Tyson Fury is active, your guy is Deontay Wilder. So start building some momentum towards that fight.
Yeah.
Put some pressure on the guy.
Yeah, not call him out, but even mention him in conversation. Don't just kind of be negative and like, oh, well, whoever Eddie sorts out or whoever, if I've got no mandatories to oblige. But nah, I agree to you about that. But it's funny, man. I don't know about you. Do you find it awkward when his dad comes in the ring and starts fanning him down with the towel and stuff, man? I just find it a bit cringe, man.
No comment, man. Maybe Leon has a fascination for these things. Huh?
But yeah, I'm pretty much done on AJ.
Yeah, I'm done as well, man. It's the whole late replacement and all that. Obviously, was a bit disappointing, but I wasn't even looking that much
forward to the
Pulev fight either. I think that would have been a spectacular knockout though, so it would have been more visually pleasing. But
it was funny as well how like Adam Smith and the other two stooges were just like, oh, Joshua had to get some last minute different sparring in because he wasn't used to the height difference. He was planning for Pulev, and then now he had to adjust to Takam, and it's like, the guy fought in as an amateur, like, they consistently fight people of different sizes, man. It's like, why are you making it such I love how they just blow everything out of proportion, man. It's amazing, man.
Oh, they were reaching, man. I mean, even you got fucking Johnny Nelson saying that this is an even more difficult fight than Pulev. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. I love those tweets, by the way.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
You always get those in caps lock type tweets from Sky Sports Boxing, and there's always the same picture of Johnny Nelson there with that smuggy grin on his face, saying some ludicrous statement, like Takam is the more difficult fight, exclamation mark. Like, I mean, whoever is on that account is an absolute troll.
Oh,
they're
the ultimate
ridiculous.
troll, bro. Some of the stuff they tweet is just hilarious. What was it about the Conor Benn and the Mike Tyson comparison? It was like, oh my god, how did this get past someone at Sky? Like, who was controlling this fucking account?
Oh, it was Mini Tyson, right? That's what they called him.
Some shit like that. I was like, in the home of because he was on the New York bill, and it's like, oh, is he? I don't know when actually he's fighting on the Jacobs card, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is. His long-awaited US debut.
Oh shit! It's hilarious.
What a fucking joke! But yeah, it's whoever has ownership of that account. It's just, it's both genius and incredibly retarded at the same time. So I do respect the troll game. It's good. It's very good.
The troll game is strong. But yeah, let's just pick through this undercard and like pick and choose, because I don't want to go through most of it. Like, a lot of fights were kind of sleepers. The White Helenius fight, Helenius tried for 2 rounds, and I would give him props, but after that he just completely gave up. What else? Yafai versus Ishida was a snooze fest. It's just maybe until the last 3 rounds where they were exchanging a bit more, but even then it was just hard to kind of just keep up with it, man. It's one of those fights where you could continuously reach for your phone and just checking tweets and checking other apps just because what you're watching in front of you is just so boring.
Yeah, let me just quickly touch on Dillian Whyte, because I never will miss an opportunity to shit on this guy. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Every fight that he's in, except for the AJ fight, it's just horrible to watch. Well, I gotta say that the Chisora fight was entertaining because they were swinging like a bunch of bums, but he's just not good, man. Like, when are people gonna stop praising this guy like he's some sort of fucking top 10 heavyweight? He is not, okay? And even if he is, that means the division has declined so incredibly much, like Leon always says, that he just happens to be there, just by circumstance. But he's just terrible. And Helenius, I mean, when was his last fight? I mean, Jesus, man. Just a horrible fight. But in terms of the Yafai Ashida matchup, I like Jafai, and I think you liked him too, right, Cam, when he first came up, and you had the Jafai brothers, and they looked pretty damn scrappy with some good power. But I've just been disappointed by all his last fights, and I'm starting to realize when I look at the way he was dealing with Ishida that maybe he's just not that good. He's a solid fighter, but yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if it's the combination of stepping up in competition or him just not progressing, because as you say, like when he was coming up and he was getting decent knockouts, he was going to the body a bit more, but it just seems now that he'll just try the same things, but he never really adjusts. He just keeps doing the same thing throughout the rounds, and he's just happy to kind of win on points. And they're talking about, oh yeah, maybe he could fight Choco or other top superflies, maybe like this Superfly 2 card that's getting rumoured to be constructed soon, maybe for the start of next year. But if you're going to be putting performances like that, I'd rather not see you. I'd rather see someone else that's fucking exciting.
The sad thing is he'll probably beat Chocolatito if that happens, because I think that guy's unfortunately, done after that brutal knockout. But I could be wrong.
I'd still pick Choco, bro. Seriously.
I don't know. I think Yafai probably beats him in a very ugly, like grinding type of fight. I don't know, man. When he came up, I kind of saw him as a very sturdy, explosive boxer puncher that goes to the body, like you said, and I really liked his work. But for example, if I look at the way he deals with Ishida, the right hand, for example, was just appalling. Like he was always so far out, he couldn't connect with it. And then instead of kind of closing the range with the jab and trying to close the distance and trying different things, get the right angle, you're dealing with a lengthy guy that's standing quite upright that doesn't throw out a solid jab. Like, it can't be that hard to step in and land a fucking right hand. Honestly, I know he was being a bit passive as well, Ishida, but I don't know, man. The technique and the way that Yafai was throwing the right hand was not right. I don't know. It was so short a lot of the times, and like you said, he just keeps on doing it over and over again, and it's just frustrating, man. I don't know. I don't know how things are gonna go when he really fights like a top 3 type of guy. I'm very, very curious, and match him up with Choco. Fuck it. Let's see what happened. But I'm worried about that because Chocolatito has gone through a life-changing fight. I don't think he's going to be the same ever again. But we'll see, man. Yeah, stinker of a fight. Let's move on to another undercard fight. Katie Taylor?
Let's talk about a girl, man. I'm interested to see your opinion. I've got my own, but I've not really discussed it or had a conversation with you about this. So let's let you go first, and we'll see.
Yeah, so I liked the beginning of the fight, right? Because they started exchanging quite heavily, and I really, really enjoyed that. The combination punching of Taylor was crazy, right? For a woman, the type of shit that she throws. And then I think it was the second round when she landed that body shot.
Yeah.
Picture perfect, man. Picture fucking perfect left hook to the body. But then it was kind of downhill from there.
In what sense?
I don't know. I think she slowed down a little bit. And I think once the Argentinian girl started, kind of mentally getting the fight and throwing back, and I think this is the first girl that ever really threw back, because the other opponents that she's had, they didn't really have that grit to her, to them, and she definitely did. And there were a couple of moments where Katie, for example, would really throw in a power shot, and you could see her get visibly hurt and then throw straight back, for example. There were a couple of moments like that where she just tried to punch with Katie, and I kind of felt a little bit of uncomfort with her. With Katie Taylor, man. She defensively, and I don't want to sound weird now, but defensively, she reminds me a little bit of Khan sometimes, where she throws these really, really fucking crazy combinations, but she squares up and her chin is straight in the air. Now, I don't think she'll ever have those problems that Khan has because, frankly, the women that she faces cannot punch hard enough to really, make her pay for it. But I definitely saw some defensive issues in that fight, man. And you could see a little bit later on as well. Her face was a bit marked up. Again, she gets away with it by sheer talent, volume punching. She's got a bit of pop as well, good movement. But I have no idea what the landscape in terms of champions looks like in that female division. But if there is somebody with a bit of pop that can counterpunch, I don't know, man. I think it's not always an easy fight for her if she has somebody that can counter. What were your thoughts?
It's interesting. I kind of echo your sentiments mainly. If you look throughout the opposition she's fought so far, she's had her own way, really. There's no one's really thrown back or troubled her, and I think that put her into a situation where she wasn't worried about what was coming back against Sanchez. Either that or she was just showing too much bravado. I thought she was just... She looked like she wanted to tear up when she didn't need to tear up. Like, I think she could have beat Sanchez more comfortably, but it's like she wanted to prove something, like, I'm going to win this belt by fucking going to war with you, when I didn't think she needed to go to war, and she did kind of ship a lot of clean shots towards the end of the fight. And I also think if you look at the level of competition now, you can tell Sanchez is a lot better than some of the girls she's been fighting, because like you said, she was throwing back. Yeah, the body shot hurt her, but a lot of the headshots that Katie was landing, Sanchez was taking them well, man. She was really getting hurt by headshots. It was mainly the body shots that were affecting her. So level of competition was better, and I just thought Katie was a bit too gung-ho a bit. I think she could have boxed a bit better. She could have defensively been a bit better. So performance-wise, I was a bit disappointed. I'm glad that she's picked up the strap, and from what they're saying is they're looking for maybe a homecoming and then a unification next year. So I'm like you, Kimo. I enjoy watching her. I don't know any other champions in her division, so it's nothing really I concentrate on. But as a fighter, I think she's exciting to watch, and a few holes that she can maybe patch up a bit.
You know what I hate about Katie, and there's not a lot of things I hate about her style and her stance and the way she throws punches, because it really, really is impressive technique. But one thing I hate is when she has her opponent hurt, she does this thing where she basically squares up and starts throwing like a 6-7 punch combination all to the head, and it's all just like a, how do I describe it? It's almost like a swimming breaststroke. You know what I mean? Like, it's like she just starts wailing at the fucking opponent, yeah. And all the opponent needs to do is just put some gloves up, and that's it. Because there's no different angle to it. It's all the same punches coming in the same direction, just at a very rapid pace.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I really, really do not like. And I think that's a bad habit that she got from the amateurs. I think that's pretty clear, because they are visually scoring punches. But if you're trying to finish somebody and they're putting the gloves up, you're just hitting gloves. Like, you have the technique. She clearly knows how to throw combinations and throw a variety of combinations, but she doesn't really implement it in situations where it's required. I thought there were a couple of moments, for example, where when you are throwing those crazy combinations, yes, the gloves are high, then take that opportunity to mix it up to the body, there were a couple of moments in there where I was like, okay, this is perfect to end it with a left hook to the body. And then it wasn't do it. So, yeah, it's a bit of a shame. And yeah, this whole thing about just dropping your hands and yeah, like you said, the bravado. Again, it's women's boxing, so she'll probably get away with it her entire career, but that doesn't really make it right, because you're still going to get hit, and then just because you're not getting knocked out, it is a flaw that you need to work on. And if I was her coach, Cam, I would work on at least some fucking head movement, man. Honestly, learn how to fucking roll with shots and throw off that. Like, she's very, very static with her upper body, man. I rarely see head movements. Work on your inside game. Learn how to slip and roll shots a little bit, man. Like, that will create openings for you. You've already got a good body shot. Like, that will create much more opportunities instead of just headhunting and throwing these crazy, flashy combinations.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. It's funny, me and Leon always talk about us being a bit tentative to buy tickets to Warren card, just because the card that gets announced is a lot different to the card that ends up, because there's fucking pullouts and people get arrested and this happens and that happens, and we always say it never really happens to Hearn, but I think Hearn got all his pullouts and injuries in one card, because this card basically fell apart, didn't it?
Yes, at the sheer joy of a lot of people, because they love seeing an AJ card fall apart. But yeah, it was a lot of last minute opponents, and I do want to give a special shout out to that. Oh man, who was that 1-on-1 guy that I mentioned earlier today, Cam? Who was he fighting? Was it Boazzi?
Yeah, the guy that fought Lawrence Okoli.
Okoli.
Adam Williams. He was from Manchester as well. He's 36. He just turned pro. And he was 1-1 basically. His first opponent that he lost to was on his debut as well, and then he won his second fight against the guy that was 3 wins and 47 losses, and his third fight was against Lawrence Okoli at the Principality. But everyone knows it's called the Millennium Stadium, man. It's always going to be the Millennium Stadium, so I'm not calling it the Principality. But yeah, it was pretty dire events when basically almost every fight is some late replacement. Buglioni fought Craig Richards at late replacement. It's pretty one-sided, I thought. Yeah, I saw the Boazzi fight. That was actually decent. Boazzi looked pretty good. I don't know if you caught that. I did send you a link. I don't know if you watched it.
Well, I was going to tell you, right? This is the fight that I enjoyed most of the entire night.
Oh, shit. So this is the one.
Yeah. I really, really like Boazzi, man. Listen, man, the opponent was nothing special, obviously, but he was a clean fighter, and it made for a how do I say that? For a visually, pleasing experience, because they were not clinching at all. They were kind of standing on the inside, and sometimes it looked like a bit of a hard sparring session, but that's okay. Like I enjoyed the boxing that was going on. It was very crisp, and Boazzi's technique is fucking beautiful, man. Honestly, he has a beautiful left hook to the body. My God.
But see when he doubles and triples it up, and then he'll double and triple the right hand. I love how he varies it. It's not like, like most people expect like a left shot, then a right shot, then a left. Just because your body's moving and momentum, you're going to throw the right hook, then you're going to throw the left hook. But yeah, he'll throw like 3 left hooks, 2 right hands, another left hook, and you can tell like the guy's not prepared, because he's dropping his left hand to bring the right hand up, and then he gets hit with another shot. It's pretty fun to watch, man.
I really, really like watching Boazzi, man. Seriously, like it's exactly what I like about boxing. And I know it's against an opponent that's a nobody, but just watching the technique, watching how calm he is as well. Like he throws punches that are hurtful punches, but they're not forced. Everything is very smooth, very crisp. He doesn't load up, but it's accurate. And you saw it as well when he dropped him. Like it doesn't look like a Maidana punch where he's just throwing a fucking fastball, but it's just accurate and crisp, man. I really, really enjoy watching him. And I think he's had how many fights now, Cam? 3 or 4, something like that?
That was his third.
Third fight only. Okay, so we're probably going to see this bullshit for a little bit more, but I can't wait for him to step up, man. I really, really enjoy watching him fight. Good jab as well, man. And he fights off the jab, which I really like, even though he's a short guy, Man,
and
he's got skills.
The jab is sharp as well, man. It's not one of those that's like feeler jabs. It's like a proper sharp punch. I love those jabs.
He's got a ramrod jab, doesn't
he? He is fighting again. He's on the Hey Bellew 2 card, I think. So we'll see him again this year. But what's your honest opinion on the weight, man? I think he's a bit small for light heavy, man.
Well, we've talked about this before, right? He does. I sometimes forget he's a light heavy watching him on TV. He doesn't look like one.
Yeah,
I've seen other light heavies that just look
massive,
look like fucking beasts, man. Compared to him, he is a small guy, but you know what? If he doesn't cut a lot of weight and he's got energy and he throws a lot of volume and given his style as well, he's not a rangy guy. He likes to get in there and fucking dig in. So he can have success. He can be the Kiko Martinez of the light heavyweight division. It's all good with me, man. As long as he looks good, I don't have an issue with it. He can probably drop down, but he's got strong legs as well, right? I don't know how much weight he cuts, but yeah, if he fights a tall, rangy guy, he might start to get issues. But then again, I see him evolve more towards a pressure fighter that comes forward, slips and rips. So we'll see, man. We'll see. This is one of the guys. There's a couple of others, like Yard, for example, that I'm also excited for, despite the bullshit. But there's a couple of dudes in the British scene right now that I'm very, very pumped for, and I want to see develop. So, good stuff.
Bro, get off the Yard train, man. I've heard rumors then that he's got no chin, bro.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow. Where did you hear that though?
I can't say, but like, I've heard that he can't take a punch.
Well,
Cam, you've been in the gyms, Cam.
I've been in gyms. I've heard the rumors.
All right, I'm buttoning your pants.
Get out. All right, this is the moment where Cam's gonna get pissed off because I'm gonna turn into an asshole because you're on the line.
Yeah. I think you have to, one of you have to hang up, so you make a choice.
What's up, Lemmy?
All right, Daddy. No, I'm serious, Cam. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless right now, Cam.
Is it because
are you guys just discussing the past couple of weeks, or are you guys looking forward?
We're just talking shit. Basically, just covered like last weekend.
Talk about the AJ card, man. What were your thoughts on AJ?
I didn't watch, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's your boy right there.
No, I mean, I've watched all of the pre-workout stuff, like when he's working out, when he's stretching and he's like looking at himself in the mirror and saying, and Coogan, Cam's brother, asks him, what do you see when you look at yourself in the mirror? And AJ was like, I'm a unit. And like, I get motivated by that kind of stuff, but regarding the actual fight, like none of that really concerns me.
Kimo, that's a good question. What do you think about AJ coming in at his heaviest, 254 pounds, man?
Look at Cam trying to segue into a serious conversation. All right, I see.
He does look massive, doesn't he? I don't know.
I think he kind of gassed again mid-rounds.
I think he always gassed, man. Whether he's 5 pounds lighter or heavier, there's just so much muscle packed on there, man. I think he's always gonna have some stamina issues, but he kind of mitigates that by fighting at a certain pace. He's always pacing himself, so he kind of gets away with it. He doesn't pull a George Groves where he doesn't understand the type of pace that he needs to fight and then gasses out, right? So until the moment where he gets a Margarito type of figure in front of him that really forces him to fight every minute of every round, then it's going to be a problem, right? So, but
it's kind of like the Katie Taylor situation, maybe not to the same degree, but AJ might not have the actual competition to force him to fight in a different style. I mean, the second best guy at this weight class is the guy who's fighting Bermain Stavern this weekend. You can say whatever you want about some of these other guys like Povetkin, who's obviously tested positive twice, and Parker, who looked like fucking dog shit against Fury. I mean, does AJ really have any competition in this weight class? I tend to not think so.
He has competition, but they're not. How do I say this? They're not a threat to his gas tank. They're relying more on just landing a shot and trying to hurt him. But none of these guys, especially Wilder, he will not, put the pressure on AJ. He'll just kind of try to box him in that awkward way that he does and try to land a right hand. So AJ can always kind of pace himself. It isn't until the moment where he gets hurt and then a tear up happens, like against White, where he loses his stamina. But yeah, and the rest, man, you mentioned Parker. I think he's dog shit, so I don't see that as a threat.
Kimo, do you follow Riddick Bowe on Twitter?
I I think I kind of do indirectly. People sometimes retweet him, but I kind of don't want to follow somebody that's completely punch drunk because it makes me feel bad reading it.
He's been proper like calling AJ out and shit. It's like, yo, if I get 100 retweets, then I'll come back and fight AJ.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man, it's sad. I like watching Riddick Bowe, man, the old fights, but damn, man, that guy is... You know, he went to Thailand as well and did like a Thai boxing fight.
Yeah,
I
bro.
don't know if you guys ever saw that.
Of course I've seen him, man. Cap, he's got a grenade on his hands, bro.
Oh, he does have dynamite in his hands.
Oh, for sure, bro.
He's a savage.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Did you watch Katie then, Lim, or not?
No, I don't want to look at Katie. I mean, watching Katie is like looking at a girl who's just way out of your league, and then you're already dating a girl, because you guys know my girl is Chantel. And I know Katie's going to fuck up Chantel whenever they meet, so I try not to look at her too much. I try to veer away from that image, if you guys catch my drift.
I do, yeah. I know where you
Cam, you think they're going to do the Katie fight against the Gallagher girl? What's her name? The Scouser.
Eventually,
she's got an incredible accent.
Down the line, eventually, her and Natasha Jonas will happen, but I don't think it'll happen for a while. I think Jonas is too far behind her yet. I think she needs maybe another 18 months or something.
Can you see a Jonas versus Chantel fight, Cam?
I see that happening quicker than the fight with Katie.
Chantel! She's out!
Yo, Cam, I'm really curious whether Katie is such a big draw in Ireland as they like to say that she is. I mean, what do you think? Because Hearn and Sky always keep talking about, oh, she's going to defend her title in Ireland. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. Like it's some sort of McGregor fight. But do you think that's true?
From what I read and hear, she is very well known just from the amount of titles and how successful she was as an amateur. And women in boxing, you don't really see them with like big sponsorships, but she's got quite a few decent sponsors. I know she's got a Lucasade sponsorship. So, yeah, I think she is a big draw. I think the Irish are very proud of any sportsman, be it man or woman, that are successful for their country. So, I think definitely she would bring out a fair number of people if she fights back at home.
All right, we'll see. Might be worth our trip to Dublin then, eh?
Fucking right, yeah.
Nah, we're not gonna do that. But
no, I do. I was thinking about going to Dublin for the Notorious premiere. Would you guys be game for that?
If it's in the same, if it's very close to the Groves Eubank fight, I'm down.
No, I'm talking about the movie premiere.
Yeah, I know. If it's like the week before Groves Eubank, I'm down.
I'm kidding, man. That premiere I think was I think it was today or last Friday. I was just fucking around.
What are the initial reviews about it? Is it good?
Oh yeah, astounding. 97% on Rotten Tomato. Yeah, I'm serious. That it's a really in-depth, once-in-a-lifetime type of insight into a once-in-a-generation fighter. I mean, that's straight from New York Times. So,
sweat.
Yeah, I mean, guys, I don't know what else to kind of bring up. I mean, should we just move on to this week's fights?
Why did you call it if you haven't watched anything, bro?
I just want to chime in, bro. I'm getting ready for my journey to Cuba. I'm gonna learn the Cuban style of fighting and come back stronger.
You're gonna turn southpaw?
I think
dude, you need to snap a photo with some Cuban fighter, man. Maybe Riggy.
Oh, for sure, bro. I'll definitely try to look out for the best Cuban fighters and just fuck them up. I'm gonna mow them down, bro.
Mow them down. We'll track you down. I'm a savage.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry to interject like this, guys, but was there other things that you guys wanted to review from the past couple of weeks?
I just did want to mention...
talk about that Bramer fight that was so amazing?
Well, I actually did want to mention Bramer because last week I said I don't know how he's going to make the weight, and if you look at the weigh-in photos, he looked like that emoji of the skull, where his face looks so drawn in, and But yeah, you could see his rib cage and everything, man. But props to him, he made the weight. And he looked okay against Brandt. Brandt was pretty shit, to be fair. He was getting caught with just like lead straight left hands of Bramer, and Bramer was just timing him really well. And I think he just saw a kind of class level quite clearly that Brandt's not really seen anyone at the standard of Bramer, where he's not fought anyone with that type of ability, even though Bramer's really near the end of his career. So I don't see Bramer beating Callum Smith, though. I think that's going to be a far reach. Even though Smith's not looked too great in the last couple of years, I think he'll have the height, he'll have the reach, and he should be able to beat Bramer.
I agree, Cam, but I would not necessarily count him out, to be honest. I haven't been impressed by Callum Smith at all. So, I don't know. I think the fight might be a little bit closer than we think, and he's a crafty veteran, so you never know what he might be able to do against Smith, man. Smith has been looking fucking terrible, dude.
Fucking terrible.
He was the favorite to win this tournament, right? I think at least the betting favorite, but now, hell no.
Yeah, but bro, are you not excited now that Smith's former opponent in the tournament, Eric Skoglund, is fighting Rocky from Stocky?
I think that's a death sentence for Rocky for Stocky, man. I was impressed with Skoglund.
Same, man.
I mean, solid boxer, good jab. So he's gonna, I think he's gonna fuck Rocky up.
That's a quick turnaround as well in this day and age for him to be fighting in December.
Yeah, well, I don't even know why they're matching fielding with him, to be honest. If anything, they would have been like, okay, if we considered him as an opponent before, let's not do it after the Callum Smith fight, because he looked really good, right? Like, it was kind of his coming out party on the world level, and
yeah,
fielding is not world level, man.
Weird matchmaking. You're right.
Yeah, it's quite strange, but maybe this is the last attempt for Rocky from Stocky to make something of himself, because it's they hyped him up at one point, but it hasn't been quite the success that it was supposed to be.
Yeah, but now he's with Jamie Moore, though.
I just say it, Cam.
No, I'll save it. Lim, let's move on. Me and Kimo kind of touched upon it at the start of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Lemieux versus Billy Joe. It's happening in July. How do you see that fight playing out? Do you think it's easy work or difficult for...
That's a good fight. Where's the fight taking place?
I think it's in Atlantic City.
No, dude, it's in Canada, right?
Oh, is it? Oh, my bad then.
Wait, when's it? In July?
December.
And fuck, that's a great fight. Is it before or after the Riggy fight?
It is. Sorry, yeah, it is in the Place Bell level, wherever that is. But it is just after. It's on the 16th. Week after.
And it's Atlantic City?
No, I was wrong. It is in Canada.
I think it's in Montreal, in Canada.
Canada. That's
yes.
where DSP is fighting from.
Yes, he is.
Okay. No, that's a great fight. Sorry, Cam, for acting like a fucking dumbass this entire time. But that's what happens when you pair me and this skinny little cunt. But anyways, that's a great fight. You know what? Honestly, I think that's like a 50-50 fight. I would say Billy Joe, but the thing about Lemieux is that he's so dangerous in the first couple of rounds, and I still don't know what Billy Joe's chin is like. I don't know if he's disciplined enough to escape that dynamite in Lemieux's right hand for a full 12 rounds.
What do you think, Kimo?
So I think actually the deciding factor here is the new Billy Joe Saunders. The fact that he looks so sturdy and in shape in his last fight kind of makes me lean towards him. If I hadn't seen that performance and the shape he was in, I would actually pick Lemieux. Honestly, I think people really underrate Lemieux. Yes, he's not a elite level fighter, but I think he's a damn good fighter, and I think he's motivated for this one. And if he, when he puts the pressure on somebody and he starts throwing bombs, and your name is not Golovkin, I think he's a threat, and I don't care who you are. So, for people to think that Saunders is just gonna, waltz his way through this fight and dance around Lemieux for 12 rounds. I'm not too sure about that, man. I probably would pick Saunders. Yes, I do think he should be the favorite, but I don't think it's going to be that easy, man. Come on.
I actually do, man. If you look at Billy Joe, like, how often do you see him getting caught clean? He doesn't, even though the fights he doesn't show up where he's not really trained, like, he doesn't get caught with many clean shots. Yeah, his work rate might not be that good, and his output might not be that good, but yeah, man, he's quite evasive. He deflects a lot of shots, he blocks a lot of shots, and Lemieux, as much as I like him, because he's fun to watch, and especially if he fights another guy that kind of stands there and trades, then it's just one of the reasons I love boxing, because someone's getting sparked out. But he's basic, man. Like, that right hand is telegraphed. I say it every time he fights. That same line is telegraphed. You can see what he's going to do. The left hand is basically just to set the right hand up. And Billy Joe, as much as you shouldn't be like this, you should take every opponent serious, and he doesn't do that. But when he fights someone decent, you see the best Billy Joe. You see him really put an effort in. And if you look at all the fights where he did step up to, kind of world level or fringe world level, like Eubank Jr. fight, Andy Lee fight, like he was on top form. So I think he'll take Lemieux very serious, and I think he will kind of beat him like 11-1. 10-2, something like that.
That's a very, very bold prediction. No, I disagree with you, man. But you're right. When he does have a big fight, he does tend to kind of get up for it a little bit. But that cannot not always work out for you. You know, like, you got to live the life a little bit, man. And at least credit to him for now, he seems to be doing that, right? I mean, he's in Tenerife or wherever the fuck he is with Ingle, drinking those Ingle youth shakes. So he's probably going to look really good on the night itself in terms of shape. But let's see, man. I think I think Lemieux is a live dog, man. Definitely, no pun intended.
I want to see Lemieux versus Canelo. I think that'd be a great fight.
Oh, that would be amazing. That's a war right there.
I think Canelo would just roll with all of Lemieux's punches and knock him out in like 2 rounds.
No round.
But I'd definitely spend like $10,000 to watch that fight for sure.
That's a lot.
Man, I would love to see Canelo just on the ropes, just fucking rolling with those crazy hooks of Lemieux. It's so fucking alpha when he does that shit.
I can actually picture it now, you know. I can see him just like rolling and just like looking under.
I was going crazy when he did that shit against Golovkin, man. Oh.
Man, you guys watch that HBO special, the After Dark documentary?
I have not.
No.
What the fuck? Oh my god, you guys are... It's really, really good production. It's like a mini kind of wrap-up show from the Triple G Canelo fight, and it just kind of, summarizes everything that happened, like, just before and after the card. It's really good. I've been watching that on replay like 40 times. It's on my YouTube, like, #1 suggestions. So I haven't seen any fights in the past month.
I was going to say, like, you watch the documentaries, but you don't watch any fights.
Nah, I don't know, bro. I don't know what to say, man. I'm just looking forward to the Riggy Loma fight, and until then, I'm kind of on shutdown mode.
Yeah, I was saying to Kimo before, like, and I've said to you, like, last time we spoke, that the rest of the schedule for the year is pretty shitty. Pretty shitty.
Yeah. But you know what it is? I think for me, I'm kind of illogical about this kind of stuff. When I see fights like Bermane Stiverne versus Deontay Wilder, it pisses me off so much that it tends to just affect the way that I watch other fights. You know, like, I just get pissed off at the rest of the schedule because there's such meaningless fights for guys who are in their primes and who should be fighting good fighters. Like, it drives me insane, man. Like, that Bermane Stiverne versus Deontay Wilder fight is a fucking abominable decision by both promoters. It really drives me insane. It really drives me fucking crazy, man.
Well, we're going to review...
Yeah, go on, Cam.
As I say, we're going to preview it, and what's crazy is because I know Stiverne fought Derek Rossi and got dropped by him, but since the first fight with Wilder, it's been 2 years, and the only fight he had with was with Rossi in that same year, 2015. He didn't fight in 2016, and this is his first fight in 2017. It's world title, no one cares anymore, but fucking hell, man, how can you be getting a shot when you've not done fuck all in the last 2 years?
You know why?
I don't know how to explain this. I really don't.
I do.
But go ahead.
Don King, motherfucker. Did you not see him at the presser? He's still promoted by him.
How is that motherfucker still alive, man?
Yeah, I was surprised because I totally forgot about that. But
Did he have his fight?
I want to see Don King versus Mauricio Suleiman. That'd be a great fucking fight.
Kimo, did Don still have his little flag?
Yeah, of course, man. He was doing his usual shtick, like doing the promotion, and he's still pretty good at it. I still enjoy it, actually.
Kimo,
but
like you collect fridge magnets.
Yeah.
I see that Don King go into every city he goes to try and find some little pins that he can stick to his denim jackets.
Yeah, those denim jackets are pretty sweet, actually. I need to get myself one of those as well.
Oh, for sure, bro.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I'm hitting that for sure.
But Kimo, what do you think about this fight, man?
I was just about to mention Stiverne is fat and out of shape, and I don't know if you've seen the weigh-in, but he looks like an abomination, and he got pretty fucking gangster at the weigh-in at the press conference as well, man. He started like staring down Wilder's team and like getting in their faces. I'm like, dude, you better fucking fight like that on Saturday, otherwise I don't want to hear it. But it's terrible, man. What can I say? It's just terrible. It's
terrible.
I don't want to see it, and I only want to see it just to get that ragu eating motherfucker laid out. That's the only reason I'm going to tune in. And if that doesn't happen, I will not watch the fight.
Do you think Wilder will stop him this time?
I think he will, to be honest. Unless he has some hand issues again, which I'm not quite sure if he does. But against Stiverne, I don't think he's trained properly for this fight at all, man. He looked terrible. He looked like fucking ski mask with dreadlocks, man. It's not good. So, yeah. I think he'll probably gas, and then Wilder can just fucking ice him.
What do you think, Lim?
Honestly, Cam, I'm not going to even make a prediction because, like you just mentioned, how am I supposed to take anything of value from Stiverne when he hasn't really fought in the past 2 years? Like, how am I supposed to make a prediction on that? I don't know. So I'm not going to really mention anything. But what kind of makes me incensed about this whole situation is just, I think there comes a point where you obviously have to defend some of Deontay's decision making just because so much of it has been his opponent's fault. But it kind of goes the same way. If we review Deontay's resume since that Stiverne fight, it's just fucking dog shit. Like, this is a guy where we all thought he was going to be at least somewhat promotable, and like nobody knows him. He's a big motherfucker. He's got power. At least he's exciting. He doesn't speak well, but he's at least interesting enough, and like nobody gives a fuck about him, man.
Yeah,
so,
but Lim, it's not his fault that all his opponents get popped.
No, I understand that, but it's only 2 fights, right? So even the Areola fight, that was inexcusable. I don't know. I really don't know. You're right. I mean, it's not Deontay's fault, but at the same time, that still doesn't exclude me from shitting on his resume. It's still shit.
I was trolling, to be honest, but
I agree. I agree. But if you look at the opponents that have pulled out, basically, right? If you exclude those, who really is left in the heavyweight division? Like, there isn't that much. Honestly, there isn't that much to work with, and you take into account like promotional issues and all that. I mean, you got AJ, you got Parker, who's mediocre, and then if you have everybody else who pulled out, who's left? Like Dillian fucking White? Like that's the best we've got. It's not a lot to work with, so you kind of end up with your Stivernes very quickly by default.
I wouldn't mind the Dominic Brazil fight, like, over the Stiverne fight. He's on the undercard against...
Yeah, I guess the reason why I'm so upset with this fight isn't necessarily because of Deontay or him trying to make any kind of excuses for his matchmaking. It's just more of the circumstances around it. That it's just to me like a bigger representation on how fucked up boxing is. Like, how the fuck are you supposed to fight for the most revered belt, for the most quote-unquote revered weight class, with two motherfuckers who are rematching each other for no reason at all? That makes no sense. It's just absolute corruption. And if it's not, it's just retarded matchmaking. It's either one or the other. It's both dog shit.
Agreed. Let's move on to another fight, Cam, because there really isn't there isn't much else to mention about this fight. And I think it's going to be probably pretty shitty attendance as well.
Yeah.
To the Barclays, right?
It is at the Barclays, but I actually think this is kind of B-level fight, which I think might be quite fun. Brazil's always in fun fights. He's fighting Eric Molina. I don't actually think that's a bad matchup.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, it's like you say, it's two guys. If you put them together, they're probably going to gel well, you know. So it's probably going to be an action fight until somebody gets slept. So yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah. Well, Kimo, what do you think about the Porter Granados fight? I think he's just going to maul him to death and headbutt him to death.
I think he's going to fucking kill him, to be honest. Granados is a cool guy, but he's not on Porter's level.
Oh, he's a cool guy, right?
Yeah, he's a cool dude, bro.
He's a cool chill.
Yeah.
He's a good Netflix and chill type of dude.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I bet he has a pair of Oaks as well.
Oh, for sure. No, Granados is small for that weight class. Didn't Granados used to fight at 140 in the past? When he fought my mom?
Yeah. he's stepping up, man, and I think he's going to be small against Porter, because I'm surprised Porter still can make 147.
No, I don't.
Well, I'm not
surprised
about
that. I think he's probably the most disciplined fighter in boxing right now, Kim. I mean, once he made that 145-pound catch weight against Broner, or 144, I don't even know. He's the last person that I would ever doubt when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Dude, didn't Granados fight AB at 140, or was that 147?
No, it was supposed to be at 140, and then you remember they moved it up to 147 when Broner couldn't make weight.
You motherfucker.
It was a crazy situation, but no, but with Porter again, like, why is Porter fighting Broner's leftovers?
Wasted career again. Wasted.
What the fuck, dude? I mean, this is a kind of a personal thing for us, because we obviously saw him live when he fought Thurman. That was a really close, good fight. And again, since then, Porter hasn't done anything, man.
The issue is they're all kind of tied up in waiting.
I know. I know. You guys are right.
He won that final eliminator against Berto to get the WBC champ. At the time, it was, I don't know if Danny would have had lost to Thurman by then, but anyway, he was supposed to fight Thurman, and Thurman's away with the fairies, so he's just waiting around thinking, well, okay, they're giving me a payday, I'll just fight Granados.
Yeah.
Cam, let me pitch something to you, yeah?
Go ahead.
Sean Porter signs with Hearn within a year. Yes or no?
100%.
You think so?
Yeah, Matchroom USA, bro.
I think he's a good candidate. And, you know, when Hearn's talking about, I've got a few phone calls, I think that's one of them. I wouldn't be surprised.
Team Porter, man, that's a good call, Kimo.
Yeah.
No, you're right, man. Why wouldn't you sign Porter? You know, to have a fight at his high school in Cleveland and get all 200 fans, you know, in that high school gym. The sellout, bro.
Well, he's got Jacobs as well now, who is a massive draw, right?
Absolutely.
Hasn't they got some type of HBO special with Jacobs this weekend, Lim? You'll probably be watching
My fight, I'm not going to be watching that one, dude. There's not enough thickness in that documentary to keep me satisfied, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
His legs are too small, huh?
You know what I'm saying?
Do you know what I am saying?
Kimo,
yes, I believe I know what you are saying.
Kimo, I want to mention Sergei Lipnitz's opponent. So this Ahiro Kondo, okay? Where do IBF get these guys from? Because I was looking at his resume. He's 29-6 and 1 draw. 2 fights ago, he fought a guy on his debut.
Cam, you know the IBF, they've got the mandatory.
It's crazy, man. Like, these guys never get heard of and they're fighting for, like, vacant titles. Is this crazy?
I think the IBF just put, like, all different names of random boxers on the wall, and then they just start throwing darts, and that's how they fucking come up with their top 10 mandatories, man. It's just fucking ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Oh, it's just, yeah. I mean, again, dangerous mismatches that are bound to happen, but
yeah. All right, let's move on to Monte Carlo.
These organizations, fuck them, man.
Fuck who?
Fuck all of these organizations. God damn, really pissing me off.
All right,
they just need one organization, bro. Like the UFC, bro. You know, just gotta force these guys to fight.
Limmy, let's see if we can make you happy, Lim. Let's talk about Dimitri Bivol.
Okay, who's he fighting?
He's fighting Trent Broadhurst for the vacant WBA World Light Heavyweight title.
Bonanza. Boxing bonanza.
That size says everything. So this is a Monte Carlo, Lim. It's promoted by your favourite promoter, Eddie Hearn. Mm-hmm. Jamie McDonnell versus Liborio Solis on the undercard, the rematch.
His name is Laborious.
It's not laborious.
Are you kidding me? It's going to be laborious for me to watch this card, Cam.
Cam, his name is Liborio.
That's what I said, Liborio.
You said laborious.
Yeah, you said laborious.
No, I said Liborio Solis, so you must have thought the S was in the wrong place.
Well, I think subconsciously you said that.
All right, I'm going to rewind the show when it's finished to see if I said it or not. What time is it? Hour and 15 in. And what else we got? Derek Chisora fighting an undefeated guy, 16-0, and Scott Quigg's fighting someone, and that's about it.
Gets the gate, Vader.
And the Eubanks on there, Kimo. Harlem Eubanks making his third professional fight.
This has maybe got to be the worst card of the year, apart from the Solis McDonald fight. I mean, this is fucking terrible. There's one thing I can't stand is watching Derek Chisora against a shit opponent, because it's just going to be two fat, sweaty men just, hugging each other and throwing arm punches.
Hey, Cam, I got a question for you, sir. Would you rather watch this card on loop, or would you rather watch a replay of that San Francisco 49ers Carolina Panthers game we attended?
Ooh, that's a tricky one, Lemmy.
If it has our commentary, like our own commentary in the 49ers game, I'd definitely watch that.
Yeah, I think I'll go for the 49ers, because that was good memories, Lim.
Yeah.
Yeah, good time running through them hoes, right?
Don't know about that. No comment.
Man, the Mozzie's automatic.
Hey, Cam, is the Mozzie popping up over there in Manchester? Is he making noise?
He's making waves down these ends, bro.
Did you introduce Scores to him?
Nah, not yet.
Dude, you gotta play him some Mozzie, man.
Mozzie.
This is Bay Area. This is a soundtrack to the Bay.
Mozzie's automatic, homie.
He is.
All right, but yeah. So Cam, is this Bivol's 12th fight now? Is it his first world title match?
It is indeed. He was supposed to fight the winner of Cleverly Jack, and then Jack decided to bitch out on vacate, so he's fighting Trent Broadhurst, whoever the fuck that is.
Dude, he's gonna have the Adonis fight, man. Don't worry. Jack's got it on lockdown.
If he doesn't, though, then that's the shit move.
Yeah, then I regret taking a picture with him in Vegas, man. Fuck it.
No takebacks, bro. You took it. That's embedded in history now.
I know, bro. I've even got the bandana on. Fuck.
Yo, all jokes aside, Lim, will you be watching the Bivol fight?
Nah.
Not even on a replay if I send you like a HD YouTube link.
Yeah, no. I'll watch the replay for sure. I like Bivol a lot, but I'm not gonna watch that shit live, man. Come on.
Okay. Fair play.
Should we talk about? Okay, I don't think we need to talk about the rest of the fights, but do you want to at least get into Solis McDonald?
Of course, man. What do you think, Kimo?
You know, I actually don't even remember the first fight, and I've been watching it now the whole time we've been doing the show, and it's actually a pretty good scrap, man. And I see a bloody nose of McDonald, and I see Solis beating the shit out of him.
Yep.
And as far as I remember, he got robbed pretty much, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you remember the scorecards by any chance? Was it like really wide and shit, or was it a split decision?
Top of my head, I think a few were quite wide. Let me try and see if I can find it. Give me 2 secs.
No, I mean he's a small guy, but McDonald couldn't really keep him off, man.
Yeah,
like,
the pressure, man. Solis put great pressure on him.
Yeah, good pressure, good body shots, and he was never really, deterred by McDonald. Obviously, McDonald doesn't have power for shit, so he just struggled to keep him at range. It's a pretty nice, nice clash of style. So I'll probably check that fight out, but I don't think he's going to get away with another robbery, and I don't really see what he can do different. He just doesn't have power, man. He can't mess with a guy like this who's just small, compact, and just comes forward and throws bombs.
So the first was unanimous. 116, 112, 115, 113, and 117, 111, which left a huge bad taste in most people's mouths. Because when I watched it live, I actually remember it. Almost probably 100% of people on my timeline had it clearly for Solis, and I think the ring being small really affected McDonald. He kind of needs a bit of distance to get his jab off, and he couldn't. Solis was just getting inside his ring span and just sitting on his chest working away. And McDonald was kind of cowering away a lot of the fights. A lot of the time he'll kind of go close to the ropes and he couldn't do anything, man. He just looked a bit helpless throughout the most of the fight. So I think if they give him a bigger ring and he can, let off his jab a bit more and just keep Solis at bay, then he'll have more success. Whether he can do that, if they do provide him a big ring, I don't know. I don't know what the setup is going to. A lot of these Monte Carlo cards I've seen over the years, whether it be on Box Nation or Channel 5 or Sky, usually a small venue and the ring's quite small, so I'm no idea. But I want Solis to get the win because I think he was badly robbed the first time. He deserves it, and I'm kind of scared though. Again, Kimo, I think it'll be a closer fight. I don't think it'll be as Solis will be as dominant, but I think he might get robbed again or be on the end of the wrong decision.
Here's the thing, right? I'm watching this fight and I see, yes, he's putting a lot of pressure, but there's also moments where they're standing in the middle of the ring, and Solis his jab is not bad either. It's not like whenever McDonald has space that he's clearly out jabbing at him, clearly out boxing him, man. Like Solis is pretty deceiving in terms of range. And even in the center of the ring, he's landing jabs, he's landing right hands, and when he gets him on the ropes, he rips to the body. I don't know, man. I think I know fucking Leon it seems to really hype up McDonald, but I never really thought he was that good. I think he's a B-level fighter holding a world title, but I don't think he's anything special, and his boxing ability is okay, but it's nothing special, Cam. So I don't know. I kind of see it going the same way, and I don't think they're going to rob him again. I think there's enough shit that's been stirred up regarding this fight, and there's a rematch happening for a reason, right? So I think he'll get it this time.
Yeah, I think I have to put my hands up a bit because I was a bit like Leon initially. I was a bit of a McDonald hater, and then those two performances going over to the States, beating Kameda twice, I kind of really jumped on the bandwagon a bit and thought, this guy's really underrated, man. He's going under the radar, but I don't know, since then, he kind of... his performances haven't been as high as they were against Kameda. Again, maybe he's struggling with the weight. They mentioned it after the fight against Solis that it might go up, but because he is pretty fucking tall for the weight, and his body is basically a skeleton. So I don't know. There's a lot of variables.
Cam, is Kameda really that good? You know, is he something special that once you beat him in a very close fight, and it's like, oh, you're a terrific fighter? Like, do we rate him that much based on that just because he won it in the States?
I don't know. A lot of people, including me, were pretty high on Kamado when he was coming through. So when he did that twice, like, we kind of set up and paid attention a bit.
I think the Naota syndrome might have rubbed off on you a little bit. I mean, Kameda's a decent fighter, but I think stylistically it suited Jamie as well. So I don't know. Yes, it's nice that he went over to the States to get a title, but you know, it doesn't make him a great fighter. And I remember Leon once said that he's the most underrated fighter in the UK. I mean, no, I'm sorry, just no.
I think, to Leon's point, at the time, maybe, yeah. But I think he has kind of regressed a bit. But there was a point where he wasn't getting enough respect. And when he started to get the respect, he's kind of dipped off a bit.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see, man. I mean, this is probably the most entertaining McDonald fight, by the way, that I've ever seen. So I am not excited for it, but I'm definitely looking forward to watching it. So.
Yeah, that and the Bivol fight is the only two fights for me that are worth watching on this card.
But you know what's going to happen with the Bivol fight, Cam.
Yeah, Trent Borjas is going to put his hands up. Bivol's just going to keep punching him with straight punches through his guard and then eventually drop him and the fight gets stopped.
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah. Anything else on this card that we need to discuss?
Nah, nothing notable.
Who's quick fighting? Is it nobody again, right?
He's fighting Oleg Yefimov something. I don't know. We need we need Christoph here to translate, but it's a Ukrainian dude. He's 29-2, 1 draw, and he's got 16 knockouts. But I don't know. I've seen some footage of Cotto giving some gems of knowledge to Quigg at the wild card, so maybe that's going to pay off.
Lovely.
But what else we got, Kimo? Lewis Neri, who beat your favourite boxer, Yamanaka. I think they're saying that fight's going to get a rematch because of the whole doping issue, but he's fighting this weekend. He's fighting Arthur Villanueva. Villanueva, we've seen him in the UK. He fought Tete, I think this year or last year. When was it? It was 2017, yeah, April. What else we got? Soto Karasis fought Ebru yesterday. I don't know what happened, actually. Let me have a look. Soto Karas got stopped, man, in the 8th.
Soto Karas got stopped?
He got stopped in the 8th against Juan Carlos Ebru. Soto Karas is a bum, man. And
he's not a bum, bro.
He's a bum, bro. And then your boy Ricardo Mayorga's fighting in Russia today.
I saw the picture of the way, man.
Actually, yeah, he's fought. He got stopped in the 10th round.
What is he now? Like 44, 45?
44.
He must be
spotting.
Broke as shit trying to fucking scramble for some cash, man.
It's a fucking shame.
Quite sad.
It's crazy. But that's
but we knew Mayorga, he was never going to be smart enough to take care of himself and his money and his contracts and all that. So the guy's just batshit crazy. I mean, he'll probably end up being arrested for drug trafficking later on. It's just crazy. Right.
But yeah, that's about it for this weekend. Anything else you want to talk about?
I think there's been a couple of news and notes that have happened over the last weeks. I don't really remember if you mentioned them on the show. You got Cotto's farewell fight against Saddam Ali. That's fucking joke, terrible.
Man. That's a fucking.
I know he's your boy, Cam. I mean, this is very bad.
Nah, bro, you know me. I jump on bandwagons and
you jump off
quite easily. So.
Yeah, it's quite sad, man.
I don't know. I saw some quote from Freddie saying, "Oh, it's not really Cotto's fault because he's fighting Ali. There's so many promotional issues between companies." It's like, fuck that. Cotto's a big name. He can basically fight anyone.
Exactly. He can pretty much make any fight that he wants as long as they commit to it. So that's bullshit, but he just wants an easy fight, you know, and he's fighting a guy who's so much naturally smaller than him and has a very, very shaky chin. So it's going to be it's going to be a very short night.
Yeah.
I would be honestly quite surprised if it packs up. I mean, it's an MSG, right?
I think it will pack up, man. I think the Puerto Ricans will come out and show the support for his last fight, but it's a shitty way to end your career. But quickly, Kimo,
Well,
I know you probably won't be on before this fight again, so I know you were super high on Liam Williams before the first fight, and you loved the first fight, and you weren't so hot with the controversy. But how do you see the second fight playing out in a couple of weeks?
is that in 2 weeks then? Next week, Saturday?
Yeah, it's on the 11th.
Oh, nice, man. I thought that was a bit later. Oh, I'm pretty hyped for this one, actually. That's the type of fight that if I was in the neighborhood, I would come over to watch it, because it's an intimate setting, it's a good fight. It's a little bit of a grudge match, and I saw Williams stepped up his Twitter game as well with some nice insults. So I'm into it, man. I really, really am. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm a little bit nervous. Yes, Smith looked like shit, but one thing you got to give him is he does have grit. He is a tough guy that's willing to dog it out, even though he doesn't have that much activity. But Williams was a little bit, I wouldn't say gassing, but he was slowing down towards the end of the fight. Before that, he was boxing beautifully, so I don't really know how that's going to play out again. But he needs to pace himself, and if he can keep that stamina up, he should pretty much box him fairly easily. But that's kind of the issue. So yeah, I'd probably pick Williams again, obviously, but again, I do have question marks around that stamina and his ability to box the 12 rounds. But on the other hand, though, I think that fight was also a good learning experience for him, and he came out of it without having taken any real damage. So he should be fresh, he should be more experienced, and now he knows what to expect. He knows that the first 6-7 rounds are going to be his. The question is, set yourself up to be in good shape for those championship rounds, and if he can do that, he should take it fairly easy. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I got so high on Liam Williams after that performance. Like, he made Smith look so basic, and maybe because he is basic, he just exposed him as what he is.
Yeah.
But Williams was excellent, man. The variety, the combination punching, and yeah, I think you're right. If he maybe manages his pace a bit better, maybe doesn't exude too much energy early on and just kind of save a bit more for the later rounds, and I think he should win quite comfortable unless there's some stupid controversy again with Smith going in with his head or some bullshit like that. But I think it's gonna, fingers crossed, be a convincing win for Liam Williams.
Yeah, and the first fight was really good as well, by the way. It was a lot of good action, especially in the later rounds, a lot of back and forth. There was just a lot of intensity to it. So I really, really enjoyed it, man. It's going to be a good fight. Can't wait. Yeah. Is there anything else that's coming up in the next few weeks that we should talk about?
Let's have a look now, quickly. We're going through that one. Danny Jacobs,
one thing I do
really cares about, but go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, the Jacobs fight doesn't really interest me. I think the opponent is, I don't really know much about him. It's a decent record, right? But apart from that,
yeah, same night as Williams, Josh Taylor's fighting in Scotland against Miguel Vasquez.
Such a weird fight as well.
Yeah.
I think Taylor's gonna fuck him up. But yeah, for the Jacobs fight, I think Jacobs should be riding high now on that confidence he's gotten from the Golovkin fight. So he's probably gonna destroy this dude he's facing, man. And yeah, I think that if that's it, I just quickly want to talk a little bit about other fights that have been going on the last few weeks, if you don't mind, Ken.
Go ahead.
I hate to bring it up, but I haven't spoken yet on your boy, a better version of Errol Spence.
How are you gonna do that to me, bro?
I haven't been on, man. Come on, I got to talk about it. Fucking Lubin, man, he got slaughtered.
Lucky shot, bro. It was a body shot that caught him on the chin. That's all it was.
Body shot that caught him on the chin. Oh man, the Charlos, man. I used to despise these guys, but the whole heel turn and the trash talk.
Kimo,
it's fucking brilliant, man. Honestly,
yo, you know you're dead to me if you buy a Charlo's t-shirt or any type of Charlo merchandise. Like our friendship would be done. You know that, don't you?
I like the "keep running your mouth" lines only shirt, man. It's pretty sweet. The fight itself was absolutely fantastic, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of the J-Rock fight as well against the other Charlo, where it's two really, really high level guys, but one just has the game changer, and he landed it, and he was spasming on the fucking floor, man. He was just out, completely fucking out. I don't know whether it is a really bad chin or again it's just the Charlo's just being that damn fucking good. I think he's been dropped before, right, Lubin? So there were rumors of him having a shaky chin, but he was just not ready for that, man. Holy shit. And I think Lim alluded to this before, like at that age to get such a vicious knockout loss, like what that's going to do to you mentally is something else, man. I can't imagine what it is to go through like something like that. You're young, you're driven, you're working so fucking hard in the gym, you feel like you're going places, you're getting that massive step up for glory, and then you just get slept in one round. It's brutal. So let's see, man. Let's see how he comes back from this. There's a lot of fighters that have gone through this type of shit before and come back stronger, So but there's a lot that you never see again. And speaking of that, finally J-Rock, I saw his name appear on the card, right? Like he's finally coming back.
Yeah, he's fighting on the 18th of this month on Bounce TV. I hope you got that subscription, Kimo.
I don't. But do you remember who he's fighting? It was a name, I think, if I remember.
It's not a name. I'm trying and find it now. He's fighting. Oh yeah, it is a name. Well, a kind of name. Ishe Smith.
Yeah, well, it's not bad for a comeback fight, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know whether he just took a really long break or actually had a fight in between. Now that I'm looking at the box rec, he fought in June against an absolute nobody, and he knocked him out. But yeah, just to get back to your boy, let's see what happens, man. But the Charlos are very exciting. I think they're fucking must-see TV. And what was probably even better than the fight itself was that moment where Jim Gray asked Jamel, like, "Are you okay?" It's like, "I'm good." That's fucking
ask him how he is.
Yeah. How's he doing? Like, oh my god, that was fucking, man. I loved it. I watch that Vine on repeat all the time. It's fucking great.
I hate those fucking brothers, man.
I know. I don't like him either, but that's part of the appeal. They honestly remind me. I mean, it's been said many times, but they honestly remind me of like a WWE tag team. Like that just goes everywhere together and always trolling, and I don't know. They just kind of feed off of each other's energy as well. It's
yeah. They appear from underneath the ring and just do some like fucking fucked up shit and make someone win on purpose.
I like how they hype each other up. Like even when one is doing an interview, the other guy is like screaming in his ear at the same time. Oh man, it's fucking brilliant. But what else?
Just going back to you saying that going over a few fights. Then, what did you think of? Well, I know what you thought because we've talked about it. But for the people at home listening, Gassiev versus Wladacek. That body shot, man, that uppercut and that hook, man. Oof.
Yeah, that's the best fucking punch I've probably seen over the last God knows how many months. Like You know this, Cam. This is right up my alley. This is brutal, fucking technically perfect boxing, and it's. I don't know, man. I haven't really paid that much attention to Gassiev before, but now he's on my fucking radar. I'm on the hype train. Like, this is. I don't even care whether he, like I'm not rooting for his success or whatever. I'm rooting to fucking see him as much as possible on my TV screen. Like, this is what I want to fucking see. So it's great that he's gonna have a bunch of fights now on a great platform, and man, I'm fucking hyped for it. It's just he folded him like a fucking chair. That was unbelievable, man.
Yeah,
the way he just set that punch up. Oh. And the sound of it as well. Just brilliant. Fucking brilliant.
Yeah. I don't think we've done a show since this fight happened, so Groves Cox, your homie, George.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent little scrap, right? I mean, Cox came to fight, he brought it, and Groves was a little bit too much for him. Here's the thing, man. I still have such a soft spot for Groves, but he's just not the same guy anymore, man. I've rarely seen a guy just transform so much out of a brutal knockout like that, where everything seems to be affected. Even I don't know, man. He just looks different. The way he speaks, the way he punches, the way he, his intensity, the look in his eyes. He's just not the same guy anymore, and I think he's still good, but again, when me and Joe Morgan were kind of jerking off over Fox Groves won yesterday, just reminiscing about that amazing night, the intensity and the explosiveness of Groves was just something else. He had that young fire to him, and he just doesn't have that anymore. And one thing I worry always with Groves is that he's quite easily pushed back onto the ropes, and he seems to fight off of the ropes as well a lot lately, where before he never did that. He had that explosive stance where he would just move and move and move, and then just out of nowhere just crack a right hand onto the chin. And that doesn't really happen anymore. He tends to just be quite flat-footed, stand in the pocket, lets himself get pushed back. Yes, he's still got decent power, but he allows himself to be put in very difficult situations. And Cox was not on his level, but we saw, for example, with Chutinov that it was a struggle. It was not an easy fight. Yes, he stopped him in the end, but he was taking a lot of shots. So I'm very, very curious about the Eubank fight, man. This is oof. I'm fucking hyped for this, man. I texted you today like it's. Calla was saying that it's either going to be in Manchester or London, but I'm so up for that. I want to go to that shit. And that whole production of the tournament as well looks fucking amazing in a live setting. So I'm down for that, man. It would be nice that if it's in Manchester, actually, right?
That'd be awesome, but I would personally think it'll be London just because both fighters are southern based. I know Eubank's from Brighton and George is from London, but I think it would make sense in London. I would love it to be here, though.
Yeah, I think it will do well regardless. I mean, Eubank is a name, and he will attract some mainstream attention as well. And people know Grove still, right? He's still quite famous, so that should do well, man. They could put that in an arena and have a fucking nice atmosphere, and that would be an amazing live experience, man. Definitely. You got Groves coming out to the fucking Prodigy. You got Eubank with his Dr. Dre beat. Yeah. It's gonna be fucking lit, man.
You mentioned Eubank. What did you think of the combination punches that led to Yildirim getting starched?
So it's all very exciting, obviously, and to see Eubank actually put somebody out is great to see. I don't think necessarily he's now punching with more authority or anything like that. I just think he got to Yildirim and he just landed the right shot. So I don't know, man. I have my doubts still around Eubank. He looks great, like in terms of the eye test, he looks great. But every time he fights somebody, who's an elite level, again, he doesn't really seem to put it together. He starts kind of fighting strange, just throwing a lot of uppercuts, not really using his jab. And
so are you saying that Billy Joe Saunders is elite level?
Maybe not in terms of what I think is an elite level fighter visually, but he is elite in the division, right? He's what, top 3? Top 4?
So apart from Billy Joe, then who else caused Eubank issues?
Well, that's my thing, right? Actually, I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit because he hasn't really stepped up that much, has he?
No.
So I don't really know what his ceiling is. That's kind of what I want to find out, because my problem is when he fights a low-level guy, like for example against Blackwell or whatever, he jabs, he throws combinations, and they all land, and it looks all fucking fantastic. But as soon as you have somebody who moves a little bit, or somebody with some good defense, he doesn't really switch up anything, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of is a pressure fighter, but he doesn't always fight like a pressure fighter because he takes his sweet fucking time a lot of times, Like against Billy Joe, it was obvious he shouldn't be boxing with him. He should come forward. And then he started to come forward at one point, but he just was, swinging from the hips and throwing these haymaker uppercuts. Like, come on, dude, you have better technique than that. We've seen it in other fights. But he just doesn't seem to put it together. So, I don't know. Against Abraham, he looked a little bit better. He used the jab a little bit more. I think if he comes forward against Groves and sticks a strong jab out there, mixes it up with body shots and doesn't just try this crazy Dragon Ball Z shit, then I think he can go somewhere. But I don't know. He seems to. I seem to question his judgment a little bit during fights in terms of his game plan and his adjustments. So that's something that I really, really want to see versus Groves. Because if he doesn't, I think Groves can quite easily outbox him.
Yeah.
How do you see it?
I think it's a 50-50. I think Groves is a big super middle. I think if he lands a clean right hand on Eubank, I'm interested to see how Eubank reacts to it. Yeah, man, I think it's a fun fight. I can't really break it down at the moment. It's just I see so many variables. There's so many ways that it could kind of probably turn out. So I'll probably wait until closer to the time. But on paper, man, it's a fucking great fight. It's one of those fights that if it was made, obviously, in the summer, it's a stadium fight, but it's too cold in January, February in the UK to put that in a stadium, so it'd probably be an indoor venue.
I'd never survive that, man.
Yeah, you were cold in the summer here with it's Scottish summer, so it's not really a summer.
That shit was cold, man. That was not summer at all.
All right, let's talk about one more fight, Kimo. I want to get your opinion on England versus Scotland, Burns versus Crawler. Probably one of the worst fights I saw this year.
I totally forgot about that one, man.
That's how great it was.
Oh, God, it's terrible. Yeah, it's just, yeah. I think I was even urging you on to actually go to it, but I'm glad you didn't. Jesus Christ. It's just very poor. We've all said it from day one. There was no reason to make this fight. They made it out like some sort of crossroads thing where one is going to go up for a world title shot and the other one was, doomed into retirement or, domestic level fights. It was none of the above. It was just really poor. It was not a war, despite what Sky tried to say. It was sloppy. It was annoying. It just I like Ricky, but again, it was just not. It was also stylistically not a good matchup. They just didn't gel well together. And Crawler and his fucking bunny hop just pisses me off even more. So
you hate that. You hate that little jump stop, don't you?
I hate that style, man. It's such a. He's got one of the worst styles in boxing. I really cannot stand watching that guy fight. I just don't get it.
It just don't.
It just doesn't make. I just don't understand it. So yeah, man. Do we really need to end on that note? Jesus, man.
Shit, man. Let's find something positive. Let's talk about something better before we go. Then.
Is there nothing else exciting happening in boxing?
Loma Riggy, man.
No, yeah, true. But I've spoken that already before, haven't I?
Yeah, I'm just trying to be
Kinda
positive to end the show. But...
I kind of went at Naota for shitting on this fight because it's a good scrap. But yeah, man, I'm still pumped for it. Can't wait. That's a great way to close out the year. So at least that will inject some positivity, and then we'll go into next year with some. Hopefully some massive fights and a coalition meetup in either London or Manchester for Groves Eubank. Fucking down for that.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
I think that's about it, Cam. Unless you have anything else to discuss, I think we call it a day.
No, it's been good chopping up with you, man, and I'm pretty much done as well. So, Kimo, always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, likewise, man. It's been too long, and let's see. Maybe around Loma Riggy, we can do another show. If not earlier, I'm always down to chat a little bit about some boxeo.
Boxeo. Thank you, Kimo. Thanks to all the people in the chat and all the people that download the show week in, week out. We'll be back on Monday. Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
I did. Man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the #1 flyweight in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically bun you, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the song, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos a Argentina, la concha de su madre. I see the bomb in them.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kel, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
Feels great. Did we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass. Just to play devil's advocate.
You want 1 portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand him, what? I'm Scottish.
Cringe side?
But you won't rush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you?
He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you weigh for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition. We are live every Monday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. UK time, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern.